let me take a deep breath with you, because I am about to tell you something you must hear, and you must hear it now. There are people watching this right now who have been pacing the floor at night. Your mind has been running in circles, chasing after answers you cannot find. You wake up before the sun, not because you want to, but because the weight on your chest will not let you rest. You look at your life and wonder, when will it change? When will it happen for me? How long must I wait? And in the silence of that moment, I want to speak directly to your soul. Stop worrying. Stop tormenting yourself with thoughts of what could go wrong. Stop imagining 1,000 disasters that will never come to pass. God is not finished with you yet, and He has doors, massive, divine doors, that He is preparing to open for you. You may think the doors are locked. You may have tried to push them open yourself until your strength gave out. You may have even knocked, cried, begged, and gotten nothing but silence in return. And in that silence, the enemy whispers, "See, God has forgotten you. You are stuck here forever." But that is a lie. That silence is not absence. It is preparation. God is working behind the scenes in ways you cannot yet see, weaving together events, aligning circumstances, and preparing blessings that will come to you in the exact moment He has appointed. You may not see the blueprint, but God is the master builder, and He wastes nothing. Not your tears, not your pain, not your waiting. Some of you are staring at closed doors right now and calling them rejection. But I tell you, some closed doors are not rejection, they are redirection. God is not saying no to punish you. He is saying, not this way, to protect you. That door you wanted so badly to open might have led to a place that would have drained your soul, destroyed your peace, or stolen your joy. And yet, in our impatience, we demand that God works on our timetable. But hear me, God's timing is not just good, it is perfect. He will not open the door 1 second too soon or 1 second too late. Think about this. When a seed is planted in the ground, it disappears from sight. You cannot see it breaking open. You cannot see it growing roots. But under the soil, life is stirring. The darkness of the soil is not the death of the seed. It is the beginning. And so it is with you. This season of waiting, this season where nothing seems to be moving, is not the end. It is the preparation for your breakthrough. God is nourishing the roots of your faith before He brings you into the full light of your blessing. I know what worry does to the human heart. It robs your energy before the battle even begins. It ties you up in knots, convinces you that nothing will work out, and makes you live tomorrow's problems with today's strength. Worry is the thief that enters your mind and leaves you weaker, smaller, and doubting. And here is the truth you need to take deep into your soul. Worry does not move God's hand. Faith does. You cannot pray for a blessing and then live as if God is not able to provide it. You cannot ask for an open door and then keep staring at the locked one as if that is all God can do. There is a reason the people who live with unshakable peace are not the ones with perfect circumstances. They are the ones who have decided to trust God regardless of the circumstances. They know that if God could create the heavens and the earth, He can create a pathway for them. If God could bring water out of a rock, He can bring provision out of nowhere for you. If God could part a sea, He can part the obstacles in your way. But you have to choose to stop feeding your fears and start feeding your faith. Some of you have been measuring God's power by your past disappointments. You think, well, I've prayed before and it didn't happen. I believed before and it still failed. But just because it didn't happen when or how you wanted, doesn't mean it won't happen. Some blessings are delayed because God is protecting you from receiving them too soon. A blessing given at the wrong time can become a burden, and God loves you too much to give you something that will harm you because you are not ready for it. He will wait until you are strengthened, matured, and prepared for the weight of what you are asking for. You see, God's doors are not ordinary doors. When He opens one, no man can shut it. And when He shuts one, no man can force it open. That is why you cannot manipulate, beg, or force your way into a season that God has not yet unlocked for you. The most powerful thing you can do in the waiting is to trust Him completely, to rest in the knowledge that He knows exactly where you are and exactly what you need. Some of you are holding on to things God is trying to take away, and yet you are asking Him to bless you. But blessings often require letting go. You cannot receive what is in God's hand if your hands are full of what He has already asked you to release. Maybe it's a relationship that has drained you for years. Maybe it's a job that suffocates your spirit. Maybe it's the approval of people who will never truly value you. Whatever it is, if God is asking you to lay it down, it's because He is about to replace it with something better. And here is where so many stumble. They want the blessing without the pruning, the reward without the refining. But God will not place new wine into old wineskins. He will not pour fresh oil into a vessel that still carries the residue of the past. Sometimes, the reason the door has not yet opened is because God is still preparing you to walk through it. He is shaping your character so that when you receive the blessing, it will not destroy you. Worry tells you to rush. Faith tells you to wait. Worry says, what if it never happens? Faith says, it's already on the way. Worry makes you chase after everything in sight. Faith makes you stand still and watch God bring it to you. And if you have lived long enough, you know this truth. Every time you tried to force something before its time, it never lasted. But every time you waited on God, the blessing came with peace, with stability, and with a strength that could not be shaken. Some of you are surrounded by closed doors right now because God is funneling you toward the right one. He is not confusing you, He is directing you. He is guiding your steps away from danger and toward destiny. And I promise you, when that door swings open, you will understand why every other one had to remain shut. You will look back and thank God for not giving you what you thought you wanted. You will realize that His no was never rejection. It was divine protection. There are moments in life when God will strip you of every option except to trust Him. He will close every door, cut off every escape route, and remove every backup plan, not to punish you, but to position you. Because when the blessing comes, you will know beyond a shadow of a doubt, it was not luck, it was not chance, it was not your own strength. It was God and God alone who made it happen. You may feel forgotten, but God knows your name. You may feel invisible, but God sees you. You may feel like you've been waiting forever, but God's appointed time is never late. And when that time comes, the blessing will not trickle into your life. It will flood it. It will overtake you, surprise you, and remind you that you serve a God who keeps His promises. Let me speak to you plainly, because your heart needs to hear it without any sugar coating. Worry is a form of doubt in disguise. It's the mind's way of saying, I don't really believe God will handle this. You may not say it out loud, but every time you turn a problem over in your head 100 times instead of turning it over to God, you are letting doubt set the rules for your life. And doubt is a tyrant. It will chain you in the same spot for years, make you afraid to take a step forward, and rob you of sleep while accomplishing absolutely nothing. God never asked you to figure everything out. He asked you to trust Him. That is why your energy is running low. You are trying to carry what was never meant for your shoulders. There is a reason God allows seasons of uncertainty, because it strips away the illusion that you are in control. We are quick to believe that if we plan well enough, work hard enough, or connect with the right people, we can make everything happen for ourselves. But there comes a point where no contact, no amount of skill, and no clever plan can force the door open. That is when you discover the most freeing truth in the world. God does not need your connections, your status, or your strategy to bless you. When it's time for your door to open, He can take you from overlooked to sought after in a single day. He can turn what others ignored into something the world suddenly values. But here's the challenge. You have to stop measuring God's ability by the size of the door in front of you. Some of you are staring at a small opportunity and thinking, this can't be the way. Others are looking at an obstacle so massive that you assume it's impossible. But the size of the door has nothing to do with the size of your God. If He wants you to walk through it, He will either enlarge it or make you fit perfectly through it. And if He wants to, He can make a brand new door in a wall you thought was solid stone. So many blessings are missed because people gave up one prayer too soon. They stopped believing right before the turn came. They let exhaustion convince them that nothing was happening, when in reality the blessing was already in motion. Think about the earth itself. There is always movement happening beneath the surface, even when you feel nothing. The ground can be calm and still for years, then shift suddenly and permanently. Your blessing can be like that, silent preparation until one day, everything changes in a moment you never saw coming. And make no mistake, when God opens the right door, it will not just be for your survival. It will be for your elevation. Too many settle for asking God only to get by, when He is trying to bring them into a place of abundance. I am not talking about greed or chasing after material things. I am talking about the abundance of peace, stability, and purpose that comes when you are exactly where God wants you to be. And let me tell you, when you walk into that kind of blessing, you won't have to apologize for it, hide it, or downplay it to make others comfortable. The blessing will speak for itself, and it will testify to the goodness of God without you saying a word. But before the door opens, God often asks you to pass a test, the test of trust. He will place you in situations where nothing makes sense, where you cannot see the outcome, and where the easiest option is to give up. And in those moments, you have two choices. Either you let your emotions dictate your decisions, or you stand in the middle of the storm and declare, I will not be moved. God is my provider, and I will not be shaken. That's what faith looks like. It's not an emotion you feel when everything is going well. Faith is the decision to trust God when everything around you is telling you not to. There is another reason God may delay the door from opening. He is building in you the ability to stay humble when it does. A blessing can attract jealousy, criticism, and attention you never asked for. Without humility, you might spend more time defending the blessing than enjoying it. But when you know it was God who brought you there, you don't waste your energy trying to prove anything to anyone. You simply walk in gratitude and let the blessing speak for itself. Some of you are frustrated because you think the delay means God has forgotten you. But a delay is often the sign that the blessing is bigger than you imagined. Bigger blessings require bigger preparation. You can't carry a heavy load with weak hands. You can't walk through a large door if you're still thinking small. God is using this season to stretch your vision, deepen your endurance, and increase your faith so that when the blessing arrives, you are ready to hold it without dropping it. And I must warn you, when God is about to open a door for you, distractions will come. People who doubted you will suddenly want your attention. Opportunities that look good but are not from God will appear to pull you off course. Old habits and old fears will try to creep back in. Why? Because the enemy knows that if you step through that door, you will operate on a higher level than before. That is why you must guard your focus. Do not let temporary emotions pull you away from eternal purposes. When you are close to your blessing, life will often feel the most difficult. You will feel the pressure increasing, the uncertainty mounting, and the silence from God stretching longer than you thought you could endure. But remember, just before dawn, the night is the darkest. Just before the birth, the labor is the most intense. And just before the blessing, the enemy will push the hardest. If you can withstand that final push, the door will swing open with a force that nothing can shut. I want you to understand something powerful. God's blessings are not fragile. When He opens a door, you don't have to rush to grab it before it disappears. You don't have to fear that someone else will take what belongs to you. A door God has designed for you will remain yours until you step through it. Nobody can steal it, block it, or cancel it. That is why you don't need to compare your journey to anyone else's. Their door is not your door. Their timing is not your timing. And their blessing is not your blessing. Stop living as if the blessing depends on you convincing God to give it. He already knows what you need. He already knows what you've been through, and He already has the perfect moment in mind. Your role is not to force the timing. It is to remain faithful until the timing arrives, and when it does, you will realize that every tear, every prayer, every sleepless night was worth it. Some of you listening to me right now are living in the tension between what God promised and what you can currently see. That space between the promise and the fulfillment can feel like a desert, dry, lonely, and without any visible sign of life. But deserts are not dead places, they are proving grounds. In the desert, you learn to rely on God in ways you never would in the comfort of abundance. In the desert, you learn that water can come from unexpected sources, that strength can rise in you when you thought you had nothing left, and that peace can exist even when nothing around you makes sense. Do not despise your desert season. It is often the pathway to the door God is about to open. And let me tell you something about God's doors. They are never random. God is strategic in everything He does. When He opens a door, it is aligned perfectly with your purpose, your preparation, and your season. He does not open doors to entertain you. He opens doors to advance you. That means the door you've been praying for may not look glamorous at first. It may look small, hidden, or even unremarkable to others. But when you step through it, you will find that it leads to far more than you could see from the outside. Never underestimate what God can do with what looks ordinary. I know the temptation to take matters into your own hands when you feel like God is taking too long. You start to think, maybe I should help God out. Maybe I should push this door open myself. But every time you try to do God's work in your own strength, you create unnecessary burdens. What God opens flows with grace. What you force will drain you. And there is nothing more exhausting than living in a season you were never called to enter. Sometimes the very reason God is delaying your blessing is because He's waiting for you to put something down. You can't carry baggage from the past into the place He's taking you. Old grudges, old habits, and old mindsets cannot survive in the atmosphere of your blessing. They will pollute it. They will sabotage it. God is not just preparing the door. He is preparing you to walk through it without bringing destruction to what He's about to give you. When the door opens, it will not be a timid, half-hearted shift. It will be a clear, undeniable move of God. And when it happens, you won't need to ask anyone if this is the moment. You will know. The peace will be unshakable. The provision will be undeniable. The alignment will be too perfect to be explained by coincidence. That's the thing about God's doors. When He opens them, you don't have to fight for proof. The blessing itself is the proof. But here's the truth. Many people will see the door but never walk through it because they allow fear to speak louder than faith. Fear will tell you you're not ready. Fear will remind you of your failures. Fear will show you all the risks, all the reasons why it might not work, and all the ways you could lose. And if you listen to fear long enough, you will watch the door close while you stand on the outside wondering what could have been. God did not bring you this far to leave you frozen at the threshold. When He says, go, you must go, even if your knees are shaking. There is a certain boldness that comes from knowing who holds your future. When you truly believe God is in control, you stop living like every setback is the end. You stop treating closed doors as personal failures. You stop seeing delays as punishments. Instead, you begin to understand that everything, yes, everything, is either God's protection God's preparation, or God's positioning. You start walking through life with a steady heart because you know the one who holds the keys is guiding your steps. Some of you have been asking, but what if the opportunity passes me by? Let me settle that for you right now. Nothing God has for you will ever belong to someone else. Your blessing has your name on it. Your opportunity has been designed to fit your life, your calling, and your journey. It will not arrive late, and it will not arrive early. It will arrive at the precise moment when God says, now. And when that moment comes, you won't have to beg for it, you won't have to trick your way into it, and you won't have to prove you deserve it. God's favor is not earned, it is given. And when He gives it, no one can take it away. One of the most dangerous things you can do in the waiting season is to let comparison poison your faith. You look at someone else's open door and start questioning why yours is still closed. You begin to measure God's faithfulness by how fast He moves for other people. But you do not know the battles they fought, the price they paid, or the purpose behind their blessing. God's work in their life has nothing to do with the timing of His work in yours. The moment you stop comparing and start trusting, you will see how much peace floods your heart. Sometimes, the reason God's door is still closed is because He's keeping you hidden for a season, not because you are unworthy, but because the place He's taking you requires you to be shielded until the right moment. If you were exposed too soon, the wrong people would try to use you, drain you, or pull you away from your purpose. God hides you not to punish you, but to preserve you. And when the hiding is over, the unveiling will be so powerful that no one will be able to deny His hand on your life. I want to tell you something that may surprise you. When the door opens, it may not always lead to immediate comfort. Sometimes it leads to responsibility, to stretching, to new challenges you've never faced before. But that's how blessings work. They don't just make your life easier, they make your life fuller. And when God opens a door, He equips you to handle everything on the other side of it. You may feel nervous, but you will not be unprepared. The most beautiful thing about God's doors is that they are not just for your benefit. They are often connected to the blessing of others. When you step through that open door, your obedience may unlock opportunities for people you haven't even met yet. Your faith may inspire someone else to trust God. Your courage may break a generational pattern in your family. That's why you cannot afford to stay stuck in fear. Your blessing is bigger than you. And so, in this waiting, in this preparation, in this stretching season, I urge you, stop worrying. Worry blinds you to the blessings already around you. Worry convinces you the door will never open, when in reality the handle is already in God's hand. Your job is not to pace back and forth wondering when it will happen. Your job is to stand ready, expectant, and faithful, so that when God swings it wide, you can walk through without hesitation. There will come moments in your life when everything around you will scream that it's over. The bills will stack higher than your income. The relationships you thought would last will suddenly crumble. The opportunities you thought were secure will vanish overnight. And in those moments, the temptation will be to panic, to grasp for anything that feels like control. But hear me, when the ground is shaking under your feet, that is not the time to run. That is the time to stand still and know that God has not lost control. The same God who spoke the universe into being has not forgotten how to arrange the details of your life. He does not panic. He does not scramble. He does not improvise. Every move He makes is deliberate, calculated, and perfectly timed. I want you to think about the door you are waiting for, not just as an entry point, but as a divine appointment. God's doors are not just about your convenience, they are about your destiny. When you walk through that door, it will place you exactly where you need to be, surrounded by the right people, equipped with the right resources, and positioned at the right time. That is why He cannot allow you to walk through too soon. A door opened too early is just as dangerous as a door never opened at all. The blessing must meet you at the right maturity, the right strength, and the right readiness for it to last. Too often, people mistake impatience for readiness. They think because they are tired of waiting, they are ready to receive. But God knows the truth. He knows if you are ready to carry the weight of the blessing, or if it will crush you. He knows if your heart is prepared to handle the criticism, the responsibility, and the discipline that come with the open door. Sometimes the delay is not punishment, it is protection from yourself. You may not realize it now, but this waiting season is not wasted time. It is sacred time. It is the time where God is refining your focus, stripping away your dependence on others, and teaching you to hear His voice above all the noise. When the door opens, you will not have the luxury of figuring out if you can trust Him. You will have to already know. This is why the preparation is so intense, because the blessing is significant. Let me speak plainly. When God opens your door, not everyone will be happy for you. Some will question it. Some will resent it. Some will try to discredit it. This is why God uses the waiting season to toughen your skin and soften your heart. You will need thick skin to endure the opinions of others, but you will also need a soft heart to avoid becoming bitter in the process. The moment you start walking in what God has for you, you will see both opposition and favor increase. And you must be strong enough in your spirit to handle both without losing focus. The truth is, God's doors often come wrapped in challenges. They don't always look like instant success. They may require you to step into uncomfortable places, to learn new skills, or to trust God for provision in ways you never have before. This is because the door is not just about what you will receive. It's about who you will become once you walk through it. God is more interested in your growth than your comfort. The blessing is not meant to make you idle. It is meant to make you impactful. And here's something you must understand: the door is not the goal. The door is the gateway. Too many people see the open door as the finish line, when in reality, it is only the beginning of a new assignment. The open door is an invitation to a higher level of obedience, a deeper level of trust, and a greater level of influence. If you treat the open door as the end, you will waste the blessing. But if you see it as a beginning, you will multiply it. Do not be surprised if God requires you to leave certain people or places behind when the door opens. Every blessing comes with a separation. You cannot carry everyone into your next season. Some people were only meant to walk with you to a certain point, and if you try to drag them beyond that, they will weigh you down. God will sometimes close the hearts of certain people toward you, not to hurt you, but to release you. Do not chase what God has already removed from your path. I must also warn you, when the door opens, distractions will try to follow you through it. Just because you've stepped into a blessing doesn't mean the enemy will stop trying to pull you off course. This is why your discipline matters as much as your faith. An open door without focus will become a revolving door. You will walk in and out of it, never settling into the fullness of what God has for you. Guard your time, guard your mind, guard your spirit. One of the greatest mistakes you can make is to think the blessing is yours to control. The blessing belongs to God. You are simply entrusted with it. That means your decisions inside the blessing matter just as much as your prayers before it. Do not allow the comfort of the new season to make you forget the faith that brought you there. The same God who opened the door is the God who must guide you through it. I want you to imagine this. You are standing before a massive, ancient door. It looks immovable. You've knocked until your hands are sore. You've waited until your patience has worn thin. And then, without warning, you hear the sound of the lock turning. The door swings open. Not because of your strength, not because of your cleverness, but because God decided it was time. In that moment, every delay, every tear, every disappointment will make sense. You will see that God was not just preparing the blessing, He was preparing you to walk in it without fear, without doubt, and without hesitation. The God who holds the keys has not lost your address. He knows exactly where you are, and He knows exactly when to open the way before you. Your part is to stay ready and to stay faithful and to stop letting worry rob you of the joy of expectation. Because when that door opens, it will not just lead you into a blessing, it will lead you into the very place God has been shaping you for all along. There are seasons when God will allow you to stand before a door that will not budge. No matter how hard you push, you will try everything, every plan, every favor, every resource, and still it will not open. And you will wonder, why would God put me here if He wasn't going to let me in? But that's when you must remember, sometimes the waiting at the door is as important as walking through it. Waiting teaches you what rushing never will. It shapes your patience, strengthens your endurance, and deepens your trust in God's timing. If the door opened the first time you knocked, you would walk through with excitement, but without the maturity to stay. God is not just trying to get you in, He's making sure you can remain there when you arrive. You see, we often think of blessings as sudden, dramatic moments, a flash of light, an instant change. But many of God's blessings are layered. They are built piece by piece, over days, months, even years, until one day they stand fully before you. That is why you must not despise the small shifts, the tiny improvements, the little victories. These are signs that the foundation is being laid for something far greater. When the final piece falls into place, it will seem sudden to the world, but you will know it has been God's hand working all along. Do not make the mistake of thinking that because you cannot see movement, God is idle. God never sleeps, never rests, and never loses track of what belongs to you. Even in the silence, He is speaking into your future. Even in the stillness, He is moving pieces on your behalf. Just because you cannot hear the footsteps does not mean the answer is not on its way. The most miraculous openings often happen after the quietest seasons. But let me speak a truth that will challenge you. Sometimes the greatest obstacle to your blessing is not the locked door in front of you, but the unlocked door behind you that you refuse to close. You are standing in front of God's promise, yet you keep looking over your shoulder, unwilling to shut the chapter on what God has already told you is finished. You cannot walk boldly into your future while clinging to the comfort of your past. If you want the door ahead to open, you must be willing to lock the door behind you and throw away the key. And hear this, when God opens your door, it will not require you to compromise your values, your peace, or your integrity to keep it open. Any opportunity that forces you to sacrifice your character is not from God. His blessings bring peace, not torment. They add to your life, they do not drain it. If you have to beg someone to let you stay in the blessing, it was never the blessing God intended for you in the first place. What God gives, He sustains. This is why you must learn to be content in the waiting. Contentment is not the same as giving up. It is trusting that God knows what He is doing. Contentment says, I am not where I want to be yet, but I will praise God here because I know He is taking me there. The enemy will try to make you restless because restless people make rash decisions. But when your heart is at peace in God's timing, you cannot be manipulated by fear. And do not underestimate what happens to your faith when you witness God open a door no one thought could open. It changes you. It gives you a new boldness, a new confidence, a new certainty that no matter what comes next, God can make a way. That's why you must not waste your energy trying to explain yourself to people who doubt you now. When the door opens, your life will become the testimony. Some of you are in a season where it feels like every door is closing. Opportunities dry up, friendships fade. Paths that once seemed clear are now blocked, and your instinct is to panic, thinking you are going backward. But in reality, God is narrowing your path. He is removing the unnecessary so that you will not be distracted when the right door appears. If every door were open, you might wander into the wrong one. God's no is not a rejection, it's an act of mercy steering you to the yes that matters. There is also something you must understand. When God opens a door, it will often be bigger than what you prayed for. You may have been asking for just enough to survive, but God was preparing more than enough to thrive. You may have been asking for a small breakthrough, but God was arranging a generational shift. This is why you must not limit your expectations to what you think is possible. God does not operate within the walls of your imagination. He exceeds it. And let me remind you, no person can block what God has ordained. They may try to delay it, distract you from it, or discourage you from believing in it, but they cannot stop it. When the Creator of the universe decides it is time for your door to open, no opinion, no circumstance, no earthly power can keep it shut. This is why you must stop worrying about who likes you, who supports you, and who understands you. Your blessing does not depend on their approval, it depends on God's decision. Some doors will open quietly, without announcement. Others will open so loudly that everyone around you will see it happen. But whether it comes with a whisper or a roar, the opening will be unmistakable. You will not have to wonder if this is the moment. You will know it in your spirit. God will give you the peace to walk through it and the strength to hold it. And here is the final truth for this moment. You must prepare now as if the door could open tomorrow. That means getting your heart right, your habits aligned, and your faith strengthened. Because when the moment comes, there will be no time to scramble. The people who step into their blessing are not those who were lucky. They are those who were ready. The time to prepare is not when the door is open. It is while it is still closed. And if you will do that, when God swings it wide, you will walk through not just hoping it will work. You will walk through knowing you were made for this. And I tell you, when you finally release that tight grip of control and place it into the hands of the Almighty, you will witness how swiftly the tides turn in your favor. You see, worry is a thief. It steals your strength before the battle even begins. It clouds your vision so you can no longer see the doors that God has already prepared. And many of you are standing right in front of a door that is about to open, but you are too distracted by fear to recognize it. Let me tell you, this fear is a liar, but God is the truth. When He says He will bless you, no storm, no enemy, no setback, and no delay can stop Him. When He says He will make a way, that way is already written in His plan. Sometimes God delays the door because He is strengthening your hands to carry the blessing. A blessing that comes too early can crush a person who is not ready, and God loves you too much to give you something that would destroy you. So instead of asking, "Why is it taking so long?" begin to ask, "God, prepare me for what you have prepared for me." That prayer will change everything, because it shifts your focus from what you don't have to what God is doing in you. When you let Him shape your character, build your endurance, and refine your faith, you will not just walk through the door of blessing. You will be able to stay there and thrive. Do not think for a second that your blessing is lost. What God has written for you is not floating in uncertainty. It is anchored in His divine will. It is sealed with His authority. The blessing is not wandering aimlessly, looking for you. It has your name written on it, and no one else can claim it. That is why envy is pointless. That is why comparison is a trap. Another person's blessing is not your blessing, and your blessing will not fit anyone else. Stop looking at the open doors in other people's lives and wondering, if God forgot you. He hasn't forgotten you. He is preparing a door so perfect for you that when you step through it, you will know beyond doubt that only God could have done it. You may think you're behind schedule, but in God's calendar, you are right on time. You may think opportunities have passed you by, but the truth is, what is meant for you will circle back around until it finds you standing in faith. And when it comes, you will not have to fight for it in your own strength, because God Himself will open it, And when He opens a door, no human can close it. You won't need to push it, pry it, or beg for it. It will swing wide because God's hand is upon it. So stand tall in this season. Speak life into your situation. Stop rehearsing the problem and start declaring the promise. Say it out loud if you have to. God is my provider. God is my way maker. God is opening my doors right now, and nothing can stop Him. This is not just positive thinking. This is faith speaking. And faith is the language that moves the hand of God. When you choose faith over fear, obedience over doubt, and gratitude over complaint, you are unlocking the atmosphere for God's power to work. Do not underestimate the small steps. Sometimes the road to the big door is paved with little acts of obedience. That conversation you didn't feel like having, that habit you decided to break, that moment you chose to trust instead of panic, those are all bricks in the road God is laying toward your breakthrough. You might think they are insignificant, but in God's design, nothing is wasted. The small things today are the foundation of the great things tomorrow. And hear me, when your door opens, it won't just bless you, it will overflow to everyone connected to you. Your faith will become a testimony for your family, your perseverance will inspire others to hold on, and your breakthrough will become a living example of God's faithfulness. That's why the enemy fights you so hard now, because he knows that your victory will not be silent. It will speak of God's goodness in a way that will shake the doubt out of someone else's heart. So stop worrying. Stop pacing the floor at night wondering if God sees you. He sees you. He has counted every tear. He knows every prayer you have whispered in the darkness, and He has not forgotten one. You are not abandoned. You are being positioned. You are not overlooked. You are being prepared. You are not rejected. You are being redirected towards something far greater than you imagined. If you could see what God sees, you would stop worrying instantly. But since you can't, He asks you to trust. Trust that His wisdom is higher, His timing is perfect, and His plan is flawless. Trust that the closed doors are not punishment, they are protection. Trust that the delays are not denials, they are preparation. Trust that the waiting is not wasted, it is working in your favor. Because when that moment comes, when God's hand turns the handle and the door to your blessing swings wide, you will understand why it had to happen exactly this way, exactly at this time, exactly according to His plan. And all you will be able to say is, God, you knew best all along.